You and I know that we need to exercise, and it's likely that neither of us is doing all the exercise we need, whether due to lack of time, energy, or any other reason. However, there's a solution that can provide most of the benefits with relatively low effort: high-intensity micro-training sessions. These sessions are key for many reasons. First, they allow you to exercise without needing equipment or a gym, making them very accessible. Second, we can get significant benefits from sessions, even just 1 minute of high-intensity exercise. And they basically work because we don't need anything to do them, and they take very little time. Microtraining is an extremely brief form of exercise in general, 1 minute of maximum intensity. And if we do several of these micro-exercise sessions throughout the day, we can even get a reasonable amount of muscle growth and body fat loss. It's not the same as an hour and a half in the gym, but it works and is extremely easy to implement. These micro-exercise sessions can be done many times per day, and while they take very little time, they can accumulate a good amount of exercise done throughout the day. If you do several of these micro sessions, which is ideal if you don't have time to go to the gym or if you simply want to increase your energy expenditure throughout the day when, for example, you want to lose body fat. But why are micro-exercise sessions a good idea? Firstly, because they have a very good relationship between damage and results for your body. Exercise is a stress and it serves a purpose, but it serves in moderation. While the vast majority of us make the mistake of being too sedentary, too much exercise is also a problem, and micro-exercise sessions provide less stress for the body because they are shorter sessions. This gives me the guarantee that I will recover 100% and be able to train again the next day without a problem. This is important because usually, the more effort we make and the more damage we accumulate in the body, the more problems we have. And in terms of fat burning, if you're trying to lose weight, you might say to me, if I do micro-exercise sessions, since they are very brief, I don't accumulate enough calories burned to lose weight. But despite that, can I lose weight and fat? The answer, fortunately, is clear: yes. But the important thing is that intense and brief exercise can give us fat burning, and I don't need to be walking fast for an hour to achieve it. A very good idea and an efficient way to burn fat are HIIT sessions or high-intensity interval training. But why does HIIT in such a short time allow us to burn fat if clearly it's not a matter of calories burned in that minute or several minutes of high-intensity exercise? These micro-exercise sessions help us burn fat because they increase our mitochondria in the muscles we work. You basically increase the energy factories where you need the most energy, which is logical. And in turn, it helps to increase your metabolism throughout the day. Basically, it's not about the calories spent in that minute of exercise, which obviously are few, but about how, after doing HIIT every day, your level of energy expenditure increases even when you're not actively exercising, helping you lose weight and, in turn, transforming white fat, the fat we all have at the subcutaneous level, into brown fat that performs much more positive functions for our body. Zone 1 is a very light effort zone that we can all sustain for hours, where we usually maintain, for example, a heart rate of 50% of the maximum we can sustain. What does this mean? It means that, in absolutely very general terms, our recommended maximum heart rate is usually 220 minus our age. If I'm 20 years old, my maximum heart rate can be 200. And these 5 zones increase cardiovascular effort and VO2, or the volume of oxygen we use, until reaching zone 5, where we can normally sustain the effort for 1 or 2 minutes at most, and where we effectively approach this cardiovascular limit. If we do micro-training sessions of 1 minute at maximum effort, obviously we are working in the most intense zone of aerobic exercise, and this is useful for several reasons. It's useful if we have little time because it allows us to do some exercise in 60 seconds, obviously. But, on the other hand, it allows us to train our VO2 max, or how efficiently our body uses oxygen, which is central to longevity and maintaining our mitochondria or energy factories healthy throughout life. So, it means more energy and more longevity. And the positive aspect of cardiovascular exercises is that they don't require you to do any specific activity. If you prefer to run, you can run. If you prefer cycling, you can cycle, or any activity that you're good at and finds less problematic. In fact, current evidence indicates that exercising at higher levels of cardiovascular difficulty for short periods is more beneficial than exercising for longer periods at lower levels. So what about muscle mass and microtraining? How much muscle am I going to gain? Surprisingly, yes, it is possible to improve at a muscular level. Look at the example of pull-up or push-up challenges, for example, where you usually have to complete daily, being pull-ups or 100 push-ups, continuously or resting, but for short periods of time. In months, these challenges generate strength gains and some muscle mass gains. If we base ourselves on all the information about training we have so far, this type of training shouldn't work because we shouldn't train the same muscle group every day without rest, and it shouldn't work for several more reasons, but these workouts in practice work. So if you don't have absolutely any equipment and have a few minutes to exercise, you can do the following the same principle. Do 100 pull-ups, 100 squats, and 100 crunches. And obviously, it's not ideal, but it works anyway. These micro-exercises work at any age. In fact, a study showed how high-intensity interval exercises increase muscle power and testosterone in athletes over 50 years old, who should theoretically be losing testosterone already. And there are even studies showing how high-intensity interval micro-exercise sessions or intense but brief muscle exercise lead to greater pain tolerance during exercise. Now, why can these workouts be done every day without negative consequences for the body? Obviously, low levels of stress and low levels of damage. Stress can be something positive, as in the case of hormetic stress, or it can be harmful, as in the case of distress. Basically, this depends on whether we can easily recover from that stress or not. And if we exercise too much, we prevent that recovery and accumulate more damage than we can handle, damaging our immune system, our bone density, leading to weight gain due to inflammation or difficulty losing fat due to inflammation, to an increase in blood pressure, of the associated cardiovascular risk. The best example of this is stress fractures that occur during marathons, where too much exercise and too much stress generate damage that our body can't compensate for. Our life is full of stress from other areas that don't depend on exercise, like economic problems, relationship problems, family problems, etc. So if you have high levels of stress, doing micro-training sessions where you know you hardly accumulate stress compared to running for an hour, it's not at all a bad idea. This protects you from all the consequences of long-term elevated stress, like high levels of oxidation, inflammation that accumulates in the body, and also mitigates the consequences of sedentarism, and in turn helps you not to accelerate aging due to this excessive damage. Basically, micro-exercise sessions have a very good risk-benefit ratio, both aerobically and muscularly. And one of the most important benefits is the one this type of exercise has on sugar management. This doesn't mean we can eat anything, but it means that if we do, using this type of strategies will neutralize some of the damage we do to the body. But not only can we use micro-exercise sessions to minimize the impact of excess carbohydrates, but the opposite also happens. If we don't exercise and are inactive or sedentary even for a few days, this inactivity decreases our glucose tolerance and increases your body's insulin resistance. Before we go, I want to ask you please, if you like these videos, share them with all your contacts, and please also leave us a like to improve the algorithm so that more people can find this content. Remember to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell. Thank you in advance for your generosity, and see you next time.